the heartbeat of competition, the drama of the moment. This is TNT Sports, home of NASCAR's race for the championship. This is the Discover Card Countdown to Green as we get ready to go racing.
Allow us to introduce you to a track that needs no introduction, the Bristol Motor Speedway, the brash and bold schoolyard bully of short tracks. Just a half mile around, it is as stubborn as it is short, and with turns banked at a muscular 36 degrees, this bully will take a lot more than your lunch money. This track makes drivers angry. What makes the track angry? When you call it short. Bristol, racing proof that big things come in small packages. A half mile of concrete poured on a firm foundation of excitement.
Here comes Gordon, right up against the back bumper. Everybody in the crowd on their feet. The bump and run. There it is. Gordon underneath the lead. Gordon wins the Sharpie 500 at Bristol.
The driving challenge here, protect your car. Know your braking point. Make sure you don't overheat. Keep your cool to survive. Bristol, where tempers can flare in 15 seconds or less, because the boiling point at this track is 36 degrees. TNT Sports presents the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Tonight, it's the Sharpie 500, live from the Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee. This is one bully that can really kick your chassis. It's a tall order to win at the short track. Hey, who says I'm sure? Hi, everybody. Our TNT race family is thrilled to welcome you to the high banks of Bristol. I'm Bill Weber. In NASCAR, any track under a mile is considered a short track. This is the biggest of the shortest. If fans could have tickets to one race, just one, this is the one most of them would want. Now, obviously, last week at Michigan, the action did not end with the checkered flag. We'll have the blow-by-blow of the off-track activities in a moment. But let's start with the Saturday night fight. Round one, row one, seat one. Dave Burns.
Well, last year, Bill, Jeff Gordon made a heavy metal pass on Rusty Wallace to win. Jeff, I know we're going to see the same kind of action here at Bristol this year. Can you come out on the front end again?
Well, you know, it is a short track, and there's always a lot of action here. And if it comes down to the closing laps, I'd much rather, you know, be in the position, being out front, trying to run away from those guys. But, you know, if we're close enough, you know, same thing could happen again. I know Rusty's going to be really strong tonight because he runs good here, and a lot of other guys are running real well. So I just hope I'm in the battle there at the end for a win. I'd love to win another one here at Bristol.
He starts in a great position. He's on the pole again. Marty Snyder?
Well, Dave, the guy outside of Jeff Gordon on row one is Mark Martin. Car was good enough to give you your first front row start of the year yesterday, but is it good enough today to get you your first win of the year, Mark?
Well, if we have some really good strategy play out, you know, it's possible. We've made some changes on the car since happy hour that are going to be better, going to make the car better, but I don't know how much better. So we'll have to find out as the race goes on tonight. But it's not really about all that. It's about missing the wrecks, I think, tonight.
There you go. Twice he has won here. Both have come in this race. Matt Yoakum.
Last night in Thunder Valley, Michael Waltrip stood on his head literally in victory lane after winning the Busch race. A great Busch car. How about your Winston Cup car, Michael? Is it just as good?
I think so. I had the feel that I wanted in practice for the Busch race. I knew my car would be right for the race. And the Cup car had the same feel at the end of practice yesterday. So pretty optimistic that we can have a good shot to win another one here tonight. It'd be great. I want to say hello to my mom in Cheryl's Ford and Mema in Mobile. Buffy said that was imperative that I get that in.
He starts third. The last time someone started third here in Thunder Valley, Dale Jarrett back in '97. 6 years ago tonight, he won his first short track win in Winston Cup. You want to do that too, don't you?
Sounds good.
Sure does. Bill Weber?
Thanks, Matt. So what was your week like? Well, just 3 days after the blackout of 2003, Jimmy Spencer tried to put the lights out on the 97. Spencer got the heave-ho from NASCAR, suspended for this weekend, fined $25,000. Spencer and Kurt Busch on probation until December 31st. This is just the latest chapter in an interesting story featuring these two drivers. Take you back to Phoenix, October of 2001. Busch on the lead lap, Spencer a lap down. Busch would later say that Spencer dumped him at Phoenix. Bristol, March of last year. First it's Spencer putting the bumper to Busch, then with 45 to go, Busch with the bump and run. Kurt went on to victory lane. That set the stage for Indianapolis, August of last year. Spencer gets into Busch and sends the 97 sailing. Kurt's reply had something to do with there being a full moon later that night. Then last Sunday at Michigan, more bumping and banging, and that contributed to a post-race punch. But it's not just what was seen, it's what was heard that has a lot of people angry with Kurt Busch. This is Kurt's radio traffic under caution.
See, I'm not very good at being bad. I was trying to flatten the 7th car fender, and I got mine. I needed to be further forward on his car. And they just showed on TV, just missed by about an inch of these two, not far enough forward. Inches only count unless you're playing horseshoes and hand grenades. And I don't really want to play either with that clown.
Now, our request for an interview and explanation from NASCAR President Mike Helton was declined. A team spokesperson said Jimmy Spencer would not comment on the situation until after the police investigation is concluded. But earlier this afternoon, I talked to Spencer's car owner, Jim Smith.
I've said it to everybody, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I think Kurt Busch was, somebody tried to wreck me at 190 miles an hour. I wouldn't take it very kindly either. And I certainly wouldn't have parked my car behind that guy's hauler either. But, you know, NASCAR did what they have to do, and I certainly support NASCAR on their situation. I think they should have done equally the same to Kurt Busch, because I think Kurt is, you know, I mean, it takes 2 people to create a situation. And as we've all found out after the issue, that there was a lot of intentional bumping and stuff going on the racetrack, and I don't condone that. We've all woke up the next day and said, why'd I do what I did yesterday? And there's nobody any more remorseful or sorry than Jimmy Spencer is today. And I'm going to tell you, when we were here for the appeal, he says, you know, I thought he was going to cry. He says he loves this sport so much, and he knows what he did was absolutely uncalled for. But, you know, if you don't have emotions in this sport, you don't belong in it. And, you know, it just, Kurt Busch pushed him over the edge.
Kurt Busch is here tonight. He starts 5th. He's with Marty Snyder.
Kurt, we've seen the video, we've heard the audio. What were your intentions when you made contact with Jimmy Spencer at Michigan?
I mean, what happened last week was an assault after the race, and what had happened leading up to that in the past was I've got 2 wrecked race cars out of it, and I don't respect Jimmy Spencer. And therefore, what happened over the audio during the race and then after the race was because of the fact I don't respect him. I never expected him to cross over that line. And so with having 2 wrecked race cars, that's why I don't respect him. And then having everybody else in the field, you know, I respect everybody out there. That's something I wouldn't do to anybody else except him. And so the things that had happened afterwards, obviously he was agitated. He came up to my window, and I'm not going to back down to him. I never thought he'd cross that line. So that's what happened. You know, what we've got to do now is move forward. And I chose to accept my probation and to help this thing move forward and put this behind us. And then what can happen in the future from this is I'm still going to be the aggressive driver on the track that wants to go to the front, but I don't want to wrinkle anybody's fenders doing it. I'm a guy that's a clean racer, and I know how to do it.
What did happen in the garage area after the race?
I think I stated what happened there. He came up, hit me in the rear, and then he came up to my window and punched me.
Are the penalties enough to make this whole feud over with, do you think?
I believe so. I mean, it's tough to say what's going to happen on his side, but on my side of it with the probation, I think we can move forward. We're going to accept it with grace, with dignity, and show the honesty that I have within my organization and to all these other competitors out here that I can drive my race car under control and hopefully put on a good show doing it. I know Ricky Craven liked it. I know Johnny Benson did last year racing him. Just going for wins. That's what it's about.
Can you put this behind you and win tonight, Kurt?
We're going for it. I mean, we put a lap down at qualifying to be 5th on the board and just trying to make sure that we do one thing at a time this weekend. And now it's 1 lap at a time. You got to stay ahead at this track. You've got to make sure that you give the crew chief the right adjustments, and then he makes the right calls to give us the right tires and right fuel. We'll see what we can get. I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking to put this behind me.
He won here in March, going for the season sweep at Bristol. Bill?
Thank you, Marty. Wally Dallenbach is standing by on the booth to call tonight's race with Alan Bestwick and Benny Parsons. Wally, there's so much going on here. Let's just focus in on the radio traffic that we've heard. Can you hold someone accountable for what's said on a team radio during a race?
No, Bill, you can't hold the drivers accountable what they said on the radio. Nobody be there to drive next weekend at Darlington. You know, what we say on the radios, like I always say, people want to listen in on the radios when I'm in a race car. It's kind of like being a guest in my house. You can listen, but if you don't like what I say, you need to leave the house. We say things that sometimes we don't mean, sometimes we regret afterwards, but still, when we're in a race car, drivers are different animals. And I'll tell you what, you come to a place like Bristol, you're going to have 43 guys that are angry, and they're going to say things that they normally wouldn't say when the helmets aren't on.
So you think we might learn a few new words tonight?
I think we'll learn plenty.
Okay, Wally, enjoy the race. Now, one final note, the onboard camera in Kurt Busch's car captured parts of the audio, not the video, of the verbal exchange between Busch and Spencer. But due to the mature content of what was said, it is not suitable for all audiences. NASCAR is the rights holder of that video. This afternoon, they released that video to members of the media covering the race at this track. Here's a look at the NASCAR Top 10 heading into the Sharpie 500. Matt Kenseth has the largest lead of the season at 329 points. Jeff Gordon is 132 behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's just 200 points from 7th place Bobby Labonte to his brother Terry in 13th. That's the first lap. Here's what's coming up as the countdown continues. The night race at Bristol, not just another Saturday night short track affair. Dave looks at the place, and Wally shows you how to race on this high-banked half mile. Working on pit road on the weekends requires working out during the week. Phil Horton strengthens manpower in the world of horsepower. And we'll share the story of how Kurt Busch helped a family and a race team after tragedy struck. Those stories coming up on the Discover Card Countdown to Green.